What is up, everyone? It's Taylor here again from SHaffrillas with part 2 of the Every Mario Kart Ranked video. So the first part, we went through the D and C tiers. This time, we're going to go through, I'm guessing, the B, A, and S tiers. It's going to be still a longer video, but this should be pretty good. I'm actually kind of excited to see where he leaves off. Lightly in the last ones, we got like Birdo, we had Peach. He has a real hatred for Princess Gold, or Pink Gold Peach. Oh my goodness. Pink Gold Peach. So he's got a real knack for hating that one. Peachette, the babies, Toad. So I'm trying to see where he's going to end up. So be sure to check out all those on my socials down below in the description, and let's jump right into the video.
Get into the B tiers, the characters I like and pick fairly often. Koopa Troopa is a long-time mainstay in the series, and while I don't really care for small characters, I still give this little guy some love now and again.
Koopa Troopa.
His voice is just so cute. He's a simple yet more than worthy addition to the roster.
That makes sense.
Pretty much all I have to
Koopa
say
Troopa's
about
pretty much been there since the beginning.
A few days before I started writing this, the Doctors were apparently added to Mario Kart Tour, and I guess they count as their own characters because they have a unique emblem. Whatever, I'm ranking them all in the same spot. They have some cool, uniquely stiff animations that fit the Doctor theme pretty well.
There's like 4
Plus,
Doctors?
I like the pill item they throw, and playing as Dr. Mario in particular feels cool because of his Smash Bros. Prestige. These are nice additions, I like them. Hate on the Koopalines all you want, but I actually quite enjoy their addition to Mario Kart, and I cycle through playing as all of them.
Except Wendy.
Pretty often.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Larry's
what
probably
Wendy.
my least played among the male Koopa kids. He's always felt a bit generic in comparison to the others, but I still really like him. He's a nice middle-of-the-road pick with a cool blue shell and mohawk. I'll give him a pass. Okay, so Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man. We might as well cover them both together since they're so similar.
Pac-Man. Oh, okay. So they were in the Arcade Vitch. So for those you don't know, Arcade GP DX and Arcade GP2, Arcade GP were all Japanese-based games. I didn't know that, so I don't really have an opinion on it.
It's very cool that they're both in Mario Kart, even if it's just the arcade games, but much like Blinky,
They should bring the arcade games over
they
here,
have
though.
these weird, annoying voices that I don't really vibe with. And being exclusive to the arcade games does drag them down a bit, since those games don't let the characters pop off with crazy animations. Also, I really don't like Pac-Man's Ghostly Adventures design, and that's the one they use for Arcade GP DX. So I just don't pick him in that game. Again, good additions, but not the best execution. Miss Pac-Man ranks a smidge higher, because at least she never had a terrible Ghostly Adventures design in Mario Kart. Bowser Jr. is another one of those mainstay Mario characters
I hate Bowser
that I'm
Jr.
kind of indifferent to.
I hate
but
Bowser Jr.
I'll definitely give him a play in Mario Kart.
He'd be like a
now
D
and
tier
again.
for me.
He's got cute voice lines and even cuter animations in 8 Deluxe in particular. Patrick actually pointed out to me the other day that Bowser Jr. perfectly fits the definition of the Skrunkly. Something that's mischievous and naughty, but also adorable at the same time. You gotta give it up for the Skrunkly, come on. Lemmy is another adorable little Skrunkly.
Lemmy.
He's one of the more flavorful Koopalines, what with his cool rainbow mohawk and wacky animations. Though again, I generally prefer the bigger
I bet you
Koopalines
Iggy's
with
at
better
top.
speed. I'll still throw Lemmy a bone.
Iggy's gonna be at top.
Though. Toadette is pretty unique, because she was actually invented for Mario Kart to be Toad's partner in Double Dash. And she's really come a long way since, working her way up to eventually appear in a mainline Mario game. A feat that Waluigi hasn't even accomplished yet. Keyword is yet. I've always liked Toadette between her
For all you
bright theme and cute.
So for those you don't know, Waluigi has gotten the short end of the stick for a lot of games. He'll probably never get his own anything, but I do think, this is my speculation, he will be in the Mario sequel, the Mario movie sequel.
Little pigtails, and she's definitely a character I get some use out of every now and again. Iggy is another very flavorful Koopaline that I get a good deal of use out of. I just don't really know what else to say. There's 7 of these guys, and Iggy's dead center in my ranking of how enjoyable they are in Mario Kart. He's another cool, enjoyable character.
Thought Iggy would be the highest.
Next. Okay, turns out I was actually lying about Paratroopa being the second most obscure Mario Kart character after Tony Soprano. Because there's actually a character so obscure that I completely forgot about them in my initial draft of this list. Mamichi, who only appeared in Mario Kart GP2. They are a Tamagotchi. Yeah, remember Tamagotchi? That was a thing that existed. In fact, it existed so hard that it got representation in one of the best-selling franchises in all of gaming. You have to give Mamichi points for the sheer audacity of being a Tamagotchi in a Mario Kart game. But at the same time, I also really enjoy what I've seen of them in secondhand footage. Their design and voice are pretty charming, which I think makes up for the fact that they don't have a lot of cool animations since they're restricted to the arcade game. Overall, this is probably one of my favorite arcade exclusive characters.
That's
I
crazy.
sincerely doubt they'll ever make it into a mainline Mario Kart, but I'm happy they made it in at all. Look, gang, I know everyone likes to complain about the oversaturation of Marios and Peaches on the roster. I get it. I really do. But I'm
Metal
part of the
Mario.
problem. I picked this lovely
Oh,
Tanuki boy
Tanuki.
like it's nobody's business. Tanuki Mario is not only adorable, but he has a ton of awesome animations that I love seeing in races.
Oh,
Especially
that's
when he
cool.
turns into a statue. Like, good lord, they did not need to go that hard for what was essentially just a filler
That's
pick
cool.
meant to pad out the Triforce DLC pack in the original Mario Kart 8. I went into that pack primarily excited for Link, as most people were, but I was surprised at how much I enjoyed this lovable Skunklo as well. Ludwig is probably my favorite
Ludwig.
queen in the actual Mario platformers themselves. He just seems so elegant and quietly sinister. But I'll admit, a bit of his uniquely dark charm seems to be lost in translation in Mario Kart. He's still a great character to play as with a cool as hell design, but his voice clips in 8 are fairly generic and leave a lot to be desired. Still a great pick overall. Now we're gonna get into a line of standard safe picks. Characters that are incredibly recurring in the Mario universe, to the point where their inclusion in Mario Kart really isn't special. Yet I still pick them fairly often because they're very cool characters in
don't
general.
you dare.
Let's start with
Don't
King
you dare.
Koopa
Okay.
himself. Bowser.
Okay, no,
Admittedly,
it's fine.
Playing as Bowser at all was a pretty novel concept in the older Mario Kart games, since that just never happened. But now he's playable in
Yoshi
every
A
spin-off
tier.
under the sun,
Yoshi
and the novelty
A
is
tier.
worn off of
Come
it.
on.
Not enough to make him any less awesome of a character, though. He's still a rad choice, and playing as him is a big power move. On a regular Mario character ranking, he'd be way higher, but in the realm of Mario Kart, there's other cooler and more unique additions. The fact that she says that every time you switch characters in Double Dash is honestly one of the funniest things I've ever heard. The sheer manic energy of Daisy cannot be overstated. She's
I like
the
Daisy.
Najimi Osana of the Mario universe. While she's at her best and most unhinged in Double Dash, I really like her in the other Mario Kart games as well.
I like
She
Daisy.
basically
That's a good
negates
pick.
any desire I would
It's
ever
definitely a
have
B
to
tier.
play as Peach. She just has a more vibrant personality and color design, and her voice lines are always killer. Yeah, I mean, she's Daisy. She's pretty epic. Moving on. And now we get to Donkey Kong, the biggest meme in the entire Mario universe. Yeah, his inclusion is pretty standard and not all that special.
Dude, Donkey Kong is...
But he's always been a consistently
have Donkey
fun
Kong A
character
tier
to
for
play
me.
as, with funny voice lines and really expressive animations. He also gets bonus points for having the best ass in all of Mario Kart. Plus his animations in 8 in particular are just really off the wall and loony in the best way possible. He even kinda sorta dabs? It's not quite a dab, but it has the spirit. Let him do a real dab in the next game, Nintendo. He can pull it off. And rounding out this line of standard favorites is Yoshi.
No!
Everyone loves him.
Yoshi
I'll always have
in
a soft
B
spot for
tier?
this adorable little dude and his cute
Oh,
little sound
man.
effects. But what really elevates him is his alternate colors in 8. They're all really fun to switch between, and they add a ton of replayability to
I want to
his
finish this
character.
video no more.
But you know what? How can I play this? There's no crafted world costume. Oh well. Even though we can't play as this extremely visually appealing costume in Mario Kart, the alt colors are pretty enjoyable.
Okay, that being said, there's one really small thing. I didn't want to throw this in here, but in Smash Bros, there is no Black Yoshi, and it always made me sad. So for a little while, I was running around with like a hashtag saying RIP Black Yoshi. But I do see he's in Mario Kart, and I love it.
Also, I know I'm not factoring Mario Kart Tour costumes into this, but I really like the existence of Kangaroo Yoshi. Just wanted to put that out there. He's epic. It took me a really long time to come around on Wiggler, one of those big swing
How the f-
characters.
is
that
Wiggler
Mario Kart
above
7 had.
Yoshi?
In this
I'm gonna-
case,
this is
the
some
big
bias.
swing ended up being a myth
This is
because
some
he never
bias.
returned in 8 or even Tour. And I'm not surprised because I don't think he was particularly popular. I certainly never played as him as a kid, but in hindsight, I think he's one of the most inventive additions to the roster ever. The sight of his 4 arms is a bit distracting at first and takes some getting used to, but they really make him stand out. So does the fact that he starts turning red whenever he gets hit with an item. That, coupled with his mellow and laid-back voice, makes for a Mario Kart character unlike any other. I'd love for him to make a comeback. Even so, something about seeing him shrunken down in a cart next to giant wigglers on Maple Treeway just feels illegal somehow. Wario may be a typical mainstay Mario character, but playing as him just feels exciting and fresh nonetheless, despite the fact that he's been in every Mario Kart
I love
since
Wario.
64. I will never get...
Also, Wario's gonna be he's gonna be the villain. Placing money on it. Wario's gonna be the villain for Mario the movie 2.
Tired of picking this greedy son of a bitch and hearing his glorious fart horn. I don't like fart jokes unless Wario's doing them. Sorry, that's just how it is. Wario's awesome, we all know it. I don't need to sell you on how cool he is. Again, a bit lower than I put him on a regular Mario character ranking video, but only because there's cooler, more out-of-the-box additions to the series. I never used to be a big fan of Morton Koopa Jr., but man, did Mario Kart really turn my interest in him around. His beady little eyes, his monochrome color scheme, his super silly voice, he really feels distinct from all the rest of the Kooplings, and he's quickly become one of my favorites among them. Plus, after you get used to the shrunken down, disproportionate versions of these guys in Smash, it's nice to play Mario Kart to be reminded that no, Morton is a chonky boy, and that's why he's so awesome. I refuse to let the Dry Bones fandom die out. I am a true boner.
Wait, what? What did he say?
There's something so awesome about playing as a skeletal Koopa. He has some of the crispiest and most satisfying sound effects in the whole game. Plus, I love all the little things with him. I love his dance on the Mario Kart Wii character select screen before you pick him. Or his animation in 8 Deluxe where he's gotta keep his head on. He's a delightful inclusion that doesn't feel like a lazy clone in the slightest. I really enjoy him. Hammer Bro was supposed to be a
Hammer
Wii, but he
Bro
was ultimately cut, which is such a shame because I've always loved these
that's
aggravating
awesome.
fuckers. And driving as one seems like it will be a dream come true. Well, now the dream is true. For everyone who managed to pull him in the gacha game, which I sure haven't. Please put him in a mainline Mario Kart already. He's such a good fit. Please do it, Nintendo. I'm begging you. Anyway, yeah. Hammer Bro and all his variants, those being Fire, Ice, and Boomerang, are a very fitting and fun addition to Mario Kart. The voice lines and animations are all on point, and overall these are some characters I'd love the chance to play as someday. Too bad Mario Kart Tour is classified as torture in my state. Alright, now it's time for the A tiers. These are characters I play as a ton and overall love the inclusion of. So, let's go.
Alright, here we go. A tier. A tier. Let's go.
Shy Guy is just so easy to
you
like,
start with
man.
Shy Guy?
Such a simple yet endearing as all hell design with hilarious noises and quite a unique history in the series. Debuting in Mario Kart DS as a character exclusive to download play, before finally gaining a slot on the big boy roster in 7, and getting the same cool alternate color treatment as Yoshi in 8. What a glow up. If I ever want to play as a small character, Shy Guy is my immediate go-to. He's adorable yet cool at the same time, with the alt colors offering tons of replayability to boot. Also, if you're curious, green Shy Guy and Black Yoshi are my favorites. And also I like his chef costume in Tor because it reminds me of Orpheus from Hades Town. Okay, moving on. Alright, so this is probably the real most cancelable take on the whole list. But I love the inclusion of Metal Mario. Back in 7, I love
Metal Mario. I would put him as A tier.
He totally was that. I saw him as a deep cut reference to Super Smash Bros. Since he appears as a boss in the single player modes of 64 and Melee. And a really fucking badass and intimidating boss at that. Yeah, he's just Mario but silver, but I don't know, I just found him so cool. His entrance in Melee goes so unnecessarily hard, like damn. Plus he was in Mario Golf and Dr. Mario 64, so like he's a legit established character from the old days who's now been brought back.
I love how like he
Mario
just
Kart.
loves him, but he just hates the pink
power
gold
version of
peach.
Mario, like Fire Mario or something. This is a legit character with legit history in the Mario universe. And he was absolutely my main in 7. I didn't know he had the best stats as a kid. I just thought he was the coolest addition with an awesome distorted voice and clever voice lines. He says Mia Mama instead of Mamma Mia because he's the Bizarro Mario. Like, come on, that's fun. He's a fun addition. But
he
yeah,
looks so bad in 64.
I knocked him down a few slots because I think the novelty kind of wore off when 8 rolled around. Plus, he contributed to the existence of Pink Gold Peach, which is absolutely an unforgivable sin. Gold Mario's kind of cool, but he's also just an alt costume, so I don't have to rank him separately. Bottom line is, Metal Mario is an awesome inclusion, and I'm tired of pretending he's not.
Ooh, the Joker
Taiko no
reference.
Tatsujin. It's such an endearing rhythm game series, and the fact that Don-chan made it into Mario Kart GP DX is just so delightful. It doesn't look like this drum boy should even fit in a cart, but he
looks adorable. He looks like a sushi.
Yeah, I just have a big smile on my face whenever I play as him. He's endearing as all heck, and I love picking him whenever I go to the arcade and get my ass handed to me in this game by Patrick and Chris. Inkling Boy kinda sorta has the same issue as Villager Boy, but to a far lesser extent. I don't particularly care for the tied up tentacles in his hair, but other than that, there's nothing wrong with his design. It's very good and I like his ults as well. But like, Inkling Girl is right there, and her design is just better. So yeah, I don't pick Inkling Boy.
Inkling Girl is a little bit over Inkling Boy, but I can put them both in A tier.
Incredibly fitting addition to the roster, with voice lines and animations that feel straight out of Splatoon. Great stuff. Nabbit is a character that's just begging to be put in every Mario spin-off under the sun. And while he sadly wasn't added to 8 Deluxe when he could have easily been there, at least he got a chance in Tour. Not only are his animations and voice lines here,
I know him in Smash Bros, but I don't know what the hell he is.
It's so funny that he holds onto his bag during the entire race, and he will not drop it under any circumstances. My dude is committed as all hell to not dropping this bag, and I just find that so charming. He's a great addition to the series, and I need him in mainline Mario Kart pronto. Alright, I'll admit, my Luigi bias propelled him a lot higher than he probably should have been on this list. Yeah, you can play as Luigi in just about any
Luigi King
under the sun, but he's fucking Luigi, man. I pick him all the time regardless of there being cooler deep cuts on the roster. Besides, if I ranked him any lower than A tier, he'd give me one of his death glares, and then I'd be dead, and then there'd be no list. Luigi makes the top 20 or nothing. I don't think there's any complaints with that. He is one of the best characters in fiction, after all.
That's fair.
Chargin' Chuck is another awesome addition to Tour that I need in mainline Mario Kart yesterday. He's a jock bro with absolutely zero chill in his animations, flexing or flutter kicking on you every opportunity he gets. The idea of playing as this football-loving lunatic is just so tantalizing, and I have no doubt that I'd race with him over and over again, if I were only given the opportunity to. When I was a kid, Miis were the shit. I loved the idea of putting yourself or your favorite character in precarious situations. And what's more precarious than Mario Kart? With that said, these guys absolutely peaked in Wii for a number of reasons. Not only did Wii give them unique voices and pronounced weight classes based on how big or small you make them in the Mii Maker, but whenever you play as them, the faces on statues in the different courses are replaced with random Mii faces. That's charming as all hell, and it's a concept that
I never knew
came
that.
Back. Miis are fine in 7, but I don't really like the fact that they're forced to wear helmets in 8, obscuring the back of their head, which is what you see most of the time during races. It's like, why did I pick this character if I can't see who they are that often? They kind of make up for it with the cool amiibo costumes. I especially like the Mega Man, Kirby, and Pikmin ones. But lacking the only cool feature of Mii's in this game behind
Sonic
some
gets
plastic
one.
shit isn't great. Still, we had it good in Wii with these guys, which is why they rank so
That's
high.
very true.
Also, now that I think about it, I don't think I ever unlocked the Bee racing outfit for the Mii as a kid. So, oops. I love what a dumb inclusion Petey Piranha is. He's so big that his head partially obscures your view of the track, but that's so funny. I love the fact that the developers didn't take his gigantic size into account when adding him to the game. I fucking love joke characters. I want to fucking play as a character with a ginormous intentional handicap that makes their inclusion absolutely hilarious. Maybe it's for the best that he was never included in any game since Double Dash, not even Tour. Because I feel like nowadays they shrink him down to make him a bit more viable and usable. Whatever, Nintendo. Give me impractical big-headed Petey Piranha or give me death. Also, the character's really cool in Sunshine and Brawl and all the other games he's in. I like him a lot, so yeah. Donkey Kong Jr. did not rank very high in my initial draft of this list.
Donkey Kong Jr.?
Why would he? He's a completely irrelevant character that deserves to be stuck in Super Mario Kart because modern Donkey Kong is way more base than Poggers. But then I remembered that they put Jr. in Tour, and holy shit, this is amazing. A 16-bit sprite surrounded by modern graphics is just such a fun idea. His animations and sound effects look great, especially his victory music ripped straight out of Super. This is so much better than if they just brought him back by giving him a modern 3D design. And it's another character I'd love the chance to play as in a mainline Mario Kart. Seriously, why the f does Tour get all the good stuff when it's practically impossible to acquire said good stuff because of the gacha mechanics? I am going to blow a gasket. Dry Bowser is such a real one, man. Now this is how you do it.
I was surprised Dry Bowser's
only callback to New Super Mario Bros.
Only
with
to
such
hear
badass sound effects and animations. I enjoyed him in Wii, but 8 is where he was really allowed to pop the f off.
I would have put him higher. I think I have him in S. I would have him in S tier.
To stare at during a race, and it cemented his status as one of the most badass heavyweights in Mario Kart history. Also, I really love the irony of him being added into Mario Kart 8 via the Animal Crossing DLC pack, because these things go together so well. As someone who never grew up with Mario Kart DS, I keep asking the people I know who did, why the fuck was Rob in this game? And nobody has an answer for me. This is perhaps the most inexplicable inclusion in Mario Kart history.
Look at him, he's
and they
so
included
funny.
a fucking Tamagotchi. Seriously, I can't process this.
That is
Not
so
only was
great.
this 3 years before he appeared in Smash Bros, but this was in a game that only had room for 12 roster slots. This game foregoed Koopa Troopa, Diddy Kong, Bowser Jr., Birdo, etc., all for the sake of adding in the toy robot from the NES days that wasn't even really a video game character.
I regret nothing,
But
though.
you know what? I adore out of left field inclusions, and this is no exception. You better believe I'm picking Rob anytime I play DS. His
Hell yeah.
animations and model are on point, and this is just such a deliciously nonsensical inclusion that I can't help but adore it. Speaking of which, as a kid, I could not stand the inclusion of Honey Queen, but now I have truly seen the light. I used to be pissed that they put in such a ridiculous, obscure Mario Galaxy character that needed to be shrunken down to a ridiculous degree in order to fit into a cart, but nowadays, that's exactly why I love her inclusion. I love bees, I love Mario Galaxy, I love when royal characters are allowed to cut loose and have fun for a change, and I love batshit insane character choices that don't make a lick of sense. Honey Queen checks all the boxes, to the point where if I ever revisit 7, I'm always picking her instead of Metal Mario. I want her back in the series so badly, you guys have no idea. Though, it is still pretty raw that they cut Waluigi out of 7, but that's not her fault. Honey Queen did nothing wrong. Saw we I diss Diddy Kong or we are guys. If it's any consolation, I think Dixie's pretty awesome. I've always really liked her, and she's very fun and expressive in tour. She's another awesome addition that just makes sense for mainline Mario Kart. Though, I guess if we're gonna add her, then we gotta have Diddy back first. Okay, sure, whatever, I don't care. All I know is Dixie's awesome, and she makes Diddy obsolete in Tropical Freeze. She should be in Smash right now, and she's amazing. Okay, moving on. I think everyone pretty much unanimously loves Pauline and agrees that she deserves to be a mainstay in Mario spin-offs. She was the first brand new unique character to get added to tour, and she definitely deserves that status.
Yeah.
Playing as her has gotta be awesome as shit. I sure wish I could play as her, you stupid fucking gotcha piece of shit! Yeah, she's awesome. The only thing keeping her out of the top 10 is that I just don't like her hair animation in tour. Something about it looks so off. Like, why is only the
I believe that
bottom
she
part moving?
is in
I don't
Mario
know, it's
Kart
kind of
8
a
though.
natural looking, but
Yeah,
her
she's
trick
in Mario Kart
animations
8
are
now, I
great,
think.
She's an awesome character. So yeah, pretty amazing inclusion overall. Barging into the top 10, yet coming up just short of the coveted S tier slot, we got my boy Roy. 8 is the game that finally enlightened me to the fact that Roy is by far the best Koopaling. He is the pinnacle of character design, what with his awesome purple shell and pink shades. His voice is gruff yet chill at the same time, perfectly conveying what a bodacious dude this guy is. In fact, playing as him reminds me a lot of another Mario Kart character. The character I haven't played as since... it doesn't really matter. Roy is awesome. Definitely worthy of a slot in the top 10. Only brought down a bit by the fact that I enjoy playing as the other Koopalings as well, meaning I'll sometimes take some potential quality Roy time and pick Morton or Ludwig instead. Still, cool as shit dude. And now for the S tiers.
S
The characters
tiers!
that I will always love
All right,
and immediately
this should be
gravitate
good.
towards. Pouring literal
He's already
hours
broken my
into
heart
videos
with Yoshi,
about
so
cool
let's see
their
what he got.
inclusions are. Starting with... my boy Link was always a rather
Yeah, I can say
unconventional
it.
pick, despite
I don't know
how
why I'm doing
iconic
that, I'm
he
sorry.
is. The idea of seeing him on a motorcycle just seemed too weird to a lot of people. Until Breath of the Wild literally added a motorcycle, and then it's like, oh well, I guess now it's okay. Yeah, I was always going to adore Link's inclusion, what with Zelda being my favorite franchise and all. He ranks a tad lower than some of the other guest stars because he does feel a bit out of place, but you can't deny the awesomeness of seeing him pull out the Master Sword of the Triforce during his trick animations. And being able to swap between his Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild designs in 8 Deluxe is an amazing detail. I still prefer the OG green tunic, but both versions of him get a lot of play from me.
That's
the
fine.
highest ranked tour exclusive character is King Baba. He is the tour
King
character
Baba.
I'm more jealous of than anyone else. And I just know I would pick him day in and day out if he was in 8 Deluxe. I mean, look at him. He's just the perfect specimen. The combination of his round physique, prominent crown, and Pringles-ass mustache makes him one of the most
mustache.
inspired additions to
Oh,
any
shit, he
Mario
is.
Kart roster. He has a unique, fun voice, and he's just iconic enough to undoubtedly deserve a roster slot, yet just obscure enough to feel like a cool choice in comparison to the characters that are basically guaranteed to be in every game. I will not be able to sleep well at night until King Babam is safely added to a mainline Mario Kart. All will finally be well in the world once that is achieved. And now we finally get to my favorite Mario character of all time. Waluigi, baby!
Waluigi!
The surge in Waluigi's
I
popularity
felt
over
like
the
he
years
was
has
going to
been
be
nothing short of
higher up.
magical. And despite the fact that he's playable in just about every spin-off you could ask for him to be in, well, almost every spin-off, he's still an easy go-to pick for me. His saturation in the Mario series does hold him back from the #1 spot he so clearly deserves. The very spot I'd give him if this was just a straight-up Mario character ranking. But he's still awesome enough to belong here in the top tier. From his iconic horn in 8 to the wacky bag of tricks he can perform, I will literally never get tired of this lanky, beautiful, perfect man. Villager Girl is such a lovely inclusion of Mario Kart. She has a very nice hairstyle and dress, adorable animations and sound effects that reference Animal Crossing so well, and overall she just fits right into the Mario universe. She's just so bright and cheerful, what with her happy face and bright pink hair. Playing as her just puts me in a good mood, and I pick her a lot. You see that, Villager Boy? This is how high you could be on the list if you bothered to comb your hair and change out of your pajamas, you piece of shit. Talk about a guest character that just fits in perfectly. Inkling Girl's inclusion is rad as all hell. What with her oversized headphones, bright orange hair, and hella expressive animations. Just another delightful guest character that feels right at home in Mario Kart, while still bringing the amazing crossover edge we've come to expect from a character like this. One of my most played characters in 8 Deluxe for sure. Why do I love playing as Isabelle so much? Maybe it's because unlike the Inklings, Villagers, and even Link to some extent, she's an actual character and not just a self-insert for the player. I adore Isabelle, as most Animal Crossing fans do, and she has some of that Honey Queen charm, where it's nice to see a character you wouldn't expect to see cutting loose, actually doing that and racing for a change. She works so hard for you. She definitely needs this time off to pelt plumbers with turtle shells in a go-kart. Come on. Isabelle was undoubtedly my main for a while there in 8 Deluxe. I remember I was playing as her in college one time, and some guy made fun of me for it, so then I proceeded to beat him in every race with her, and that shut him up pretty quickly. Isabelle is fucking rad as shit. Remember that, kids. Okay, look, I'm not someone with a ton of waifus, but even I have to draw the line and accept the literal space goddess as my personal lord and savior.
That's fair.
Ever since her debut, Rosalina has always been the best princess in the Mario games.
She's not princess though, she's queen, isn't she?
Series. And it's no different in Mario Kart. Even though it's a given for her to be in every Mario spinoff nowadays, I nonetheless pick her all the time because why wouldn't I? She's a popular pick for me in 7 and 8, but the main reason she ranks this high is because of how amazing it was to see her in Mario Kart Wii. Her inclusion mere months after her introduction in Mario Galaxy, with a special unlock criteria of needing a Mario Galaxy save file to get her super quickly in this game, I don't know, that just felt like such a special detail to me. She also had that whole Honey Queen, regal character cutting loose appeal, plus her voice was so unique and soothing in this entry. And best of all, she had a Luma following her around during races. Such an amazing detail that never got added again after this game. That's a shame, but she's still a top tier pick for me. One of the all-time greats. King Boo is, in my humble opinion, one of the most perfect Mario Kart characters of all time. Everything I said about King Babam applies to this guy tenfold. Such a simple yet perfect design that conveys everything you need to know about him.
Gold
Such
King Boo, I like that.
voice lines that straddle the line between creepy and goofy so expertly. Such an iconic yet not overused character to spice up every roster he appears in. I love how he sticks his tongue out when you're making sharp turns with a bike in Wii. Hell, I just love everything about him. He's been a consistent go-to character for me in every game he's in.
That makes sense.
I finally settled on him as my main for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. There's only one thing that could change that status, and that would be the return of my #1 pick. Don't act like you didn't know it was gonna be him. Funky Kong will forever be the greatest character ever put in a Mario Kart game. As a kid, I didn't even know he had the best stats. I always just picked him because he was Funky Kong, man. He had the coolest design,
can't hate Funky
with
Kong.
absolutely zero chill in his voice lines, which are so filled with energy and so iconic. He belongs in the Mario universe due to its heavy overlap with Donkey Kong, but he's still disconnected enough to feel like a cool crossover pick. I mean, really, what other Mario spin-offs do you get to play as this funky monkey in? The list is pretty damn short, which is why his inclusion in Wii needs to be savored for all it's worth. I can't fully describe what an incomparable pleasure it is to play as Funky Kong. You just had to be there, man. You had to be there to bear witness to the most bodacious dude ever included in a racing game, let alone a Mario game. Funky Kong is God's greatest creation, and I would do anything to get him back in mainline Mario Kart. Him being in Tour is a good start, but it cannot be where his story ends. Good night, Tri-State area. Stay funky.
All right, everyone. That was actually a really, really good list. For the most part, I would pick... I think I'd have like a couple of them a little bit lower. I'm not the biggest fan of Isabel or like the Inklings, but besides that, I probably have Link a little bit higher too. Other than that, I mean, all these were really good picks. So this was actually a really good pick. I really like this. Overall, I thought it was really, really good. Alrighty, everyone. That's all I got for today. Let me know what is your favorite character to play as. I would really love to hear it. Be sure to check all my socials down below. And as always, I'm Taylor from AfrofishOG, and I'll catch you all in the next one.